This is 8.6, day 2. There's just a couple word problems that I'd like to do with you. If you want to just go ahead and follow along on this first one. It's a pretty long word problem. I'm just going to pick out the important pieces and then we'll solve it. So this example says radium-226 is a form of a radioactive element that decays over time. Initial sample 226 has a mass of 500 milligrams. So we're going to be more in depth when we get into pre-calculus of where this equation came from. The mass of the radium remaining from the initial sample after t years, so that's your up in your exponent is there, to the nearest milligram, how much radium would be left after 800 years? So this is your time. So you use this formula, radium equals, and then 500, and then 2 raised to the t over 1600. And then what you do is you just put the 800 in for t. So 500, 2 raised to the 800 over 1600. And then we use what we've learned earlier this lesson to simplify it. So 800 divided by 1600 is 1/2. Then 2 to the 1/2 power is a base of 2, index of 2 to the power. Now you would use your calculator and you would take the square root of 2. Well, the square root of 2 is approximately 1.414. And then you just multiply those together. So 1.414 times 500 is 707 approximately in the units of milligrams. All right. The last example is a word problem. This one I would recommend you write down. Just go ahead and write the formula. Interest. If you have $2,000 invested at 4% interest compounded monthly, the value of the investment after t years is given by the investment equaling 2,000 is your initial investment, and then they have a fraction 12.04 divided by 12 raised to the 12t. And they say, what will you have after 3.5 years? So the only thing we have to take from this is just enter in 3.5 in for the time. So we take 2,000, 12.04 divided by 12, and then we put in 3.5 in for t. Now you have to remember your rules of orders of operations. We always do our exponents first. So we want to multiply 12 times 3.5. So everything else will stay as it is, that fraction, the 2,000. And then when you multiply 12 times 3.5, you get 42. Then after you do your exponents, you continue with that exponent, but we might want to clean up that fraction first, and then raise it to the power. The 12.04 divided by 12 is 1.003. I would just leave that in the calculator and then raise it to the 42. So now you still have 2,000 times 12.04 divided by 12 and then raising it to the 42. You get approximately 1.50. Multiply that by 2,000 and you get an investment now after 3.5 years of about $2,300.01. This will be your assignment for 8.6, day 2.